Welcome back to part 3 of Why I Should Believe in the Bible. We were speaking and are speaking with Dr. Grady McMurtry, who's a creation scientist. And please check our previous 2 episodes so you can understand what we've talked about so far. We've talked about why we should believe in the Bible. We've talked about how people lived till 900 years old, Noah's Ark, the flood, the 6 days of creation being 24 hours. And now we're moving on to actually, we talked about the magnetic fields, and that was amazing as well. That one had me blown away. So now we're going to talk about something else, and we have some more questions for Dr. Grady. Welcome back, Dr. Grady, again, and for spending more time with us.
This is my pleasure.
Thank you so much.
So one question came during the break was the dinosaur. You mentioned that everything was created as vegetarian, and dinosaur.
Everything that lives on the land, and there's good reason to believe that everything that lives in the ocean, too.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
But what about dinosaurs?
Well, first of all, let's talk about dinosaurs.
Yes, please.
I had mentioned in the first segment that I grew up on the campus of Cal Berkeley. And when I wasn't learning evolution in the California public school system, I was in the paleontology laboratories at Cal Berkeley. And so I was highly indoctrinated into the concepts of millions and billions of years and dinosaur evolution and all that sort of thing. And even the false story about dying because of an asteroid hit or whatever.
Right.
However, this is not true. First of all, I think that we really need to talk about an associate question to then talk about the dinosaurs. You have to remember, sharp claws and sharp teeth do not indicate that a creature eats meat.
That's what we were taught, I guess.
It's an evolutionary teaching that flat teeth are vegetarians and sharp teeth and sharp claws are meat eaters. It's a false teaching. There are lots of creatures that have sharp claws and sharp teeth. I even have a whole hour-long presentation. It's entitled, Sharp Claws and Sharp Teeth Do Not a Meat Eater Make. Okay. And that's on a DVD I have on my website where we give you a 2-for-1. The actual first presentation is the actual history, physical evidence, artworks showing that people and dinosaurs live together.
Oh, okay.
And actually those two programs are actually on one DVD. We give you a 2-for-1. But there are lots of creatures with sharp claws and sharp teeth that you can think about right here that are total vegetarians. Okay. How about panda bears, koala bears, rabbits, hamsters, capybaras, or javelina, whichever language you want to use there. How about warthogs? There are lots of creatures, and we have recently found a vegetarian spider. We now know that spiders that spin webs get 25% of their diet from the pollen trapped in the web.
Wow.
So all the spiders that spin webs, 25% of their diet is vegetarian. Only 75% is in insects and so forth, right? So you've got to get your mind in the position to realize that simply because something has sharp claws and sharp teeth, and I'm going to give you one without letting the cat out of the bag. Go to a search engine for image search engine. Type in Chinese water deer or Himalayan musk deer, not musk ox, musk deer. So Himalayan musk deer or Chinese water deer, and you look at the teeth and think about this cute, cuddly little deer that's totally a vegetarian, and then you take a look at the teeth and you tell me. We recently found a vegetarian shark, and even more recently, a second one. We found that whale sharks will eat vegetation. Wow. We even found a great white shark that took bait from kelp before it took bait from squid or tuna.
Interesting. Didn't know that.
So that's very recent. So simply because it has sharp teeth, sharp fang, does not. And in the DVD, I showed 2 lionesses that were vegetarians. They can eat vegetation, get along quite fine. Thank you.
Well, they were originally, so I guess that makes sense.
Again, Genesis 1 verses 29 and 30, all the creatures on the dry land. And even mosquitoes. Think about it. Obviously, mosquitoes are a big problem for us in Florida. The question here is not, are they going to bite you? The question is, are they going to eat you here or take you home? So remember, male mosquitoes are still vegetarian today. God created them as vegetarian. They are still vegetarian. Males don't suck blood, period. However, recently we found that there are 2 plants that have a vegetative form of hemoglobin. In alfalfa, for instance, they can get what they want. They don't actually have to have our blood.
Wow.
So, soybeans and alfalfa have a vegetative form of hemoglobin that female mosquitoes can get what they need without even biting us, without even getting blood from us. So you've got to start taking a look at reality here. Sharp claws and sharp teeth are very good for a vegetarian. For instance, how about a fruit bat, a fruit bear, right? How about vegetarian monkeys? Gorillas are entirely vegetarian, got huge canines. Many monkeys that are at least mostly vegetarian, if not entirely vegetarian, baboons and so forth. Some of them are little omnivores, but for the most part they're vegetarians. They have very sharp canines and sharp claws. Hippos, the most dangerous animal in Africa, is a total vegetarian. He doesn't eat you, but it will kill you.
Yeah.
Right? So you have to kind of get your mind away from this idea that sharp claws and sharp teeth. T-Rex teeth are widely spaced, shallow-rooted. They have serrations on the front and back, which is indicative of a vegetarian, not a meat eater. Little tiny arms, no good in a fight. Do you realize that 15 years ago, evolutionists at the highest level redefined T-Rexes and velociraptors as vegetarians?
No, I did not know that.
All the Jurassic Park movies are junk.
Yeah.
And that's my personal opinion.
I guess that's just for entertainment.
That's for other
Hopefully no one's
reasons.
saying that for
Well,
science.
see, the Jurassic Park movies are entertainment
Yep.
and propaganda.
Yeah.
But they are not science, and they're not science fiction. They're not even science fantasy.
Why do they not publish all these? Like, I wish we were able to, like,
What happens is, when the evolution,
Yeah.
let's see, but what happens
Doesn't
is
support the
people
story
get,
they want, right?
well, that's just it. Public schools today, government-run schools, are not places of education. They're places of indoctrination. They are indoctrinating the students into the religion of secular humanism to support communism, socialism, liberalism, and so to support a religion. I got a great question for you. If we're not supposed to be spending federal tax money to teach religion in school, please tell me, why are we teaching evolution? Because
is religion.
That's
Yeah,
so
that's
true. And,
so
but
true.
you know what? I'm going to be honest with you. Until really digging in with you about it today, I wouldn't have looked at it that way.
I wouldn't have either.
I have a free article on my website. As you mentioned, I have a ton of free articles. I have one there on the first, second, third humanist manifestos. Now, John Dewey, the man who wrote up the Dewey Decimal System for libraries, was a humanist and a signer of the first humanist manifesto. I am not quoting him. I am paraphrasing him. But he said he didn't care whether Johnny could read or write when he got out of school, but he wanted to make sure he knew there was no God. Now, he was in charge of what would be today the Department of Education. It wasn't then, but it became that. One time I think it was a bureau, governmental terminology. However, all three humanist manifestos say that this is the religion of atheism, it's the religion of secular humanism, and all three humanist manifestos require as a tenet of their religion that you must believe what is called chemical evolution. Rocks become alive by random chance, and by random chance they come in amoebas who become men.
Right.
Now that is a requirement, a tenet of their religion. So I asked the question, why are we spending tax dollars to teach this religion?
That's religion, exactly.
I have a much better idea. Let's teach science.
I agree.
Let's not even
agree.
teach about
Just the
origins.
facts, the true.
That's just it. See, I have three solutions to the problem of teaching evolution only in public schools today. And unfortunately, there are Christian schools that also teach evolution too. I mean, they don't always get it right. But I have three solutions. I would like to see evolution and creation taught side by side from a scientific basis only, because I have no doubt in my heart that creation would win hands down. When you look at the laws, the natural process, the physical evidence, nobody would believe in evolution if you taught them equally, scientifically only. But how about let's not teach them at all? Because after all, we're talking about origins. That's faith, that's religion, that's philosophy.
Right.
Let's just teach them, this is the first, this is the second, this is the third law of thermodynamics, this is gravity.
The hard facts.
Well,
Yeah.
and when it comes to biology, since you're a pharmacist yourself and so forth, you know, in chemistry, you add this one to this one, it blows up. Right?
Make a minor tweak and
Yeah.
then
And you're dead.
something
You know,
interesting.
but see, that's
Your hair
science.
starts to catch on fire.
When you talk about evolution and creation, you are talking about origins. And when you talk about origins, it's no longer operational science, it's historical science. And historical science is in an unfortunate position. Operational science, we use the modern scientific method, hypothesis, testing, results, repeatable results, conclusions. But with historical science, you're dealing with a one-time event that occurred in the past that you cannot observe, you cannot repeat, you can't change. You're making your best estimate, whatever, about it, but you weren't there, you know. We think because of this physical evidence, these people in this tribe used to do this, but you can't prove it because you don't have a video of it, correct?
Right.
So it's historical science. And when it comes to historical sciences, there's a disadvantage. Not repeatable, not visible, you know. And so you can't test it. So operational science, the modern scientific method, is testable. Now, again, dinosaurs, right?
Yeah.
Now, we find the fossilized skeleton, but you cannot reproduce the chemistry in it. All you know is what it looked like, basically. You know, you find enough bones, you get a good idea. But remember that many paleontologists have put the bones of different creatures together to get something that never existed either.
I read that.
I always wonder about that. I'm like,
Yeah.
how do you know?
How do you know
Like,
it's
that
this,
that one
yeah.
went
Well,
this way?
sometimes you find a skeleton that is so complete, it is incredibly rare to find a complete skeleton. I mean, even the best are typically maybe in the high 90s percent-wise. But typically, what you find is a bone of a creature in a place at a time. Or you find a lot of bones from many different creatures all in one place, all at one time. But what does that speak of? That speaks of a flood.
That was my next question. Were
Right?
they in the Noah's Ark?
Dinosaurs were. But let me tell you where you find dinosaurs in the Bible. Now, first of all, the word was not invented until 1841. So you don't find it in the Bible, right?
Right.
But the word actually means awesome lizard.
Awesome lizard.
It was invented by Sir Richard Owen. Now, he, in 1841, called them awesome lizards because he believed that they were part of God's awesome creation.
Right. Right.
Okay, so that's what the word really means. However, they are created on day 5 and day 6. If you look at the Bible and you look at the original Hebrew, again, translations, you lose something, right?
Yes.
No perfect translation, you always lose something in translation. Now, on day 5, God made all the creatures that live in the water, including the great marine reptiles, which would later be called leviathans. And it says in the typical translation, and the feathered birds. However, the Hebrew word is not that. The Hebrew word means any animal. So we're not talking about insects here, although technically they're animals. But what we're talking about is it means all mammals, reptiles, and birds that fly through the air.
Okay.
So it's any animal. So it's bats, it's flying reptiles, and it's flying birds. So he creates everything that all the animals that fly through the air and all those that are in the water on day 5. This includes the great marine reptiles. So what we're looking at is, here are the references to dinosaurs or their relatives as most people think about it. So the great marine reptiles and the flying reptiles are on day 5. On day 6, when it says the beasts of the field or the beasts of the earth, typical English translation, that is a direct reference to dinosaurs. And they lived together with people for 1,656 years because they were created as vegetarians. And we have even found through studies of it's called coprolite, which is fossil dung, that dinosaurs were vegetarians. We even found fossil grass in the stomach of a fossil T-Rex.
That's awesome.
We
These
can
findings
prove.
are wonderful, especially for creationists, for people who believe in the Bible.
Well, that's
These
just
are
it.
great
See, I'm a
findings.
biblical scientific creationist because either from the Bible or from science.
Right.
I can stipulate to you right now, if I were not a Christian today, didn't have the Bible, never read it, I would still believe the earth and the universe were 6,000 years old because it's good science,
Yes, yes.
period. But I have both,
Right. Which helps.
right? Now, they were on the ark with Noah because God sent to Noah 1 pair of each unclean kind and 3.5 pairs of the clean. There were 4 males and 3 females. The 4th male is used in the burnt offering after the flood in thanksgiving for surviving the flood, leaving 3 pairs of clean to breed. But it's 4 males and 3 females. But 1 pair of the unclean. Now, all reptiles are unclean, biblically speaking. Therefore, dinosaurs are unclean. Therefore, God sends to Noah 1 pair of each dinosaur kind. But many people don't realize how few dinosaurs there were. Dinosaurs are a small group within the entire reptile population, like the little lizards in our backyard.
Geckos, yeah.
Well, there's a difference between the little lizards and the geckos, but nonetheless, the little creatures. But it includes snakes and alligators and crocodiles and so on, which are not dinosaurs. I suppose it's good to stop for just a second and explain to everybody there are 10 scientific differences between dinosaurs and other reptiles. There is only 1 that you need to remember. Seriously. If you can remember this one, you'll instantaneously know whether a reptile is a dinosaur or not, technically speaking. And it's really simple. Whether it has 2 legs or 4 legs. If the legs go straight under the body, it's a dinosaur.
Okay.
If it goes out to the side, it's a reptile.
Like alligator.
Think about our alligators.
Yeah, of course.
Right.
Think about our lizards. The arms go out this way, correct?
That's correct.
But T-Rexes and Stegosaurus and Triceratops, the legs go under the body like a horse or cow,
Right.
right? Whether it's 2 bipedal or quadrupedal, the legs go straight down. And that's how you instantaneously know the difference between a dinosaur and other reptiles.
But how do we know that that's correct? Like, how do we know that that's true?
Because I just told you.
Done.
We believe
There
that.
are 9 other minutia, okay? But if you can remember that one, you got it knocked, okay? Now, again, we have in the Bible, God sends the creatures, 1 pair of each unclean kind. Now, what people don't realize is up until 2004, 1,401 names had been given to different dinosaur species. However, in 2004, there was a sudden realization by both creationists and evolutionists who came to an agreement. Evolutionists, atheists, are always looking for immortality. Now, how does an atheist get immortality? It's really quite simple. When they find something, they name it after themselves.
Oh my gosh, that's funny.
And so what had happened was, over the years from 1824 up, somebody had found a baby, named it after themselves. Somebody found an adolescent, named it after themselves. Somebody found an adult, named it after themselves. And we had as many as 3 different names for the same dinosaur.
Wow.
Right? So in 2004, the list was reduced to 668. But because of a couple of discoveries since then, it now stands at basically 670. But you can take those and group them into 50 to 55 kinds. So Triceratops are horned dinosaurs. Well, you can lump all the horned dinosaurs into one group.
Right.
Because it's just variation, the same as white to black, tall to short. It's just a variation within a kind. And so you only get 50 to 55 different kinds of dinosaurs when you really look at it, and there's only 1 pair each, so you only need 100 to 110 animals to get all the dinosaurs on the ark you would need.
Right.
And people don't understand the size of dinosaurs because evolutionists have convinced everybody that they're all big. And you know why? You don't know why? They want your money. You see, they want money to stay employed. So they show you all the big ones because that's impressive. And you'll give them more money to go out and dig more. But if you suddenly realize what I'm about to share with you, which is absolutely accurate, today the average size, fully mature adult dinosaur, now remember, reptiles never stop growing until they're dead, right? So we're talking about at full maturity, not adolescent, but at full maturity, about ready to drop dead from old age. The actual average length today is between 4.7 and 4.9 feet.
So just shorter than a regular adult man or woman?
Well, there are dogs in your neighborhood that are bigger than that.
Yes.
Now, there are dinosaurs we have found in South America, in Patagonia, up to 140 foot long. Big. That's big. But what you don't realize is, because they don't want you to know, is many dinosaurs were the size of a chicken, a house cat, some were the size of a squirrel that's in your backyard today. And there's one I just love. It's only the size of a mouse.
And it's called a dinosaur.
It's a dinosaur.
You just don't think of it that way.
It's a dinosaur. Got a great name called the Moososaurus.
Like a mouse.
But that actually means mouse lizard.
Right, mouse. Yeah. That is
So
too
many
funny.
dinosaurs were really quite small. The average are between 4.7 and 4.9 feet today. I mean, new discoveries will cause the number to change slightly.
Right.
But when you have hundreds of supposed species or 55 different kinds, you'll get a lot of variation. And the average at death is only less than 5 foot,
Wow.
right?
Yeah, that's not going to sell tickets at the park
That's
here.
what I was thinking. That's
That's
not gonna
just
make a
it.
good
And we've got
movie.
Dinosaur World about 60 miles from here, so no one's interested in seeing anything
yeah.
that's a Mousosaurus or Moososaurus or 4 feet. We want to see the gigantic one.
Well, see, the big ones are impressive, and you'll give them money to go out and dig more, and it's just a ploy to keep them employed.
Right, right.
You see, the chief business that evolution's are in is how do I get the next grant?
Yeah.
True.
So they were on the ark, only 100, 110 animals. Not a big deal, because think with me, you don't take fully mature adults. You take adolescents, because God wanted to live for as long as possible, reproduce for as long as possible after the flood to repopulate the earth for their kind, correct? So you're going to take adolescents. Now here in Florida, we have male alligators today here that can grow to 15 feet. The biggest one, and forget Photoshop, forget what you can find on the internet, because you know half of it's garbage, right? Not this program, but the other half. And
Thank you.
the largest male American alligator ever caught was in Louisiana, and not quite 100 years ago, 21 foot long. But you know that Nile crocodiles can reach 25.
Yeah.
But today, because of hunting, they just don't get as big.
Right, right.
And so today, 13 to 15 is kind of really big around here, right? But they start to reproduce when they're only 4 to 6 foot long. So let's think. If there were dinosaurs that could reach 140, and there were, at least one species, but the average at full maturity is less than 5 feet, let's see. Now that means that they would start to reproduce at about 2.5 feet. Is that right? You really got a problem with 100, 110 animals that would only average about 2.5 foot long?
I know I don't, but the atheists do.
But see, the atheists are self-deluded.
They really are.
They live in a fantasy world of their own delusion. So now dinosaurs are mentioned dinosaurs are their relatives, are mentioned 9 times after the flood, proving that they were on the ark. Now, think with me. 350 years after the flood, in the book of Job, you have 4 chapters quoting God. So chapters 38, 39, 40, 41 are a quotation of God speaking. Job 40, verse 15, behold, Behemoth. The word is not translated. It is simply written in English characters. What would it mean if we were to translate Behemoth into English? It means beast of beasts.
Beast of beasts.
So that sounds big, right?
Yeah.
Then it says he eats grass like an ox.
So that makes him
He's a vegetarian. And God says, behold now. Pay special attention to this creature. Verse 16, he has tremendous strength and power. This is a big, strong animal. Next verse, 17, he has a tail the size of a cedar tree.
It's big.
Now, the Christians who lack faith, lack knowledge, or lack both. The evolutionists will say, and I'm not saying they're both the same, but there are those who say, oh, this is just a hippopotamus, elephant. Let's think about that for a second, okay? Now, the last time I looked, hippos and elephants had tails about that long,
Yeah, they're kind of small.
right? And if they had a tail the size of a cedar tree, what would they look like? They'd look like a big dinosaur.
Yeah.
Then, of course, as you go on to verse 18, it says that he has bones like tubes of bronze and bars of iron. Again, a big, strong, powerful animal, correct?
Yes.
But I find this incredibly scientifically accurate because dinosaur bones, reptile bones, are hollow. They are tubes. This is an accurate description.
And that's all from the Bible.
That's verses 15 through 18, Job chapter 40.
Job, okay.
Job 40, 15 through 18. Then you go to Job 41. He says, can you draw out Leviathan with a fish hook? Now here we're talking about a large marine reptile.
Right.
Now,
Leviathan, yeah.
The entire 41st chapter of Job is describing what one looks like. It is obviously a large marine reptile, but they're mentioned 5 times in scriptures. Job chapter 3 also mentions Leviathan, mentioned twice in the Psalms, and once in Isaiah chapter 27:1. Now, let's think. Job is 4,000 years ago, 2000 BC. But Isaiah is 2,700 years ago. And he says that there were still leviathans in the ocean 2,700 years ago, correct? Right? And then if you go to Psalm 91, verse 13, some translations in English use the word dragon. Not all, but some do. But I do mission work in Russia. I do mission work in Brazil. I'm a full-time missionary teacher. Right? And in the Russian Bible and in the Portuguese Bible, it says dragon.
Dragon.
Now, dragon is just the old word for a dinosaur. And then if you look in Isaiah, in 2 chapters, he talks about flying reptiles, flying serpents, or some translations say flying dragons. And again, the Portuguese Bible, the Russian Bible say flying dragons.
Right. And we have an image of one of our saints, St. George, who's
But
dragon,
St. George was a real person.
Yes, he is. Yes, he is.
Right? In the 300s, he killed a dragon. And in my DVD on Dinosaurs and People did, capital D, capital I, capital D, did live together. I show also Marco Polo, but Flavius Josephus, Pliny the Elder, Alexander the Great, Herodotus. There's another Roman evolutionist named Philostratus, Flavius Philostratus. In 1611, the Emperor of China had to hire a royal dragon caregiver or feeder. In the Chronicles of Canterbury Cathedral, we're talking about in the 1450s, they talk about eyewitness account of 2 dragons fighting each other. On top of the crypt of the Bishop Richard Bell at the Carlisle Cathedral in northern England, 1496, it shows 2 dinosaurs entwined, and they're different species, and we can actually identify what one of them is. And the last known sighting of a live dinosaur dying, seen and witnessed by a human being, was recorded by an evolutionist.
Oh, wow.
1883, in Bolivia, they recorded a small armored dinosaur dying in Bolivia in 1883. Now, I think when an evolutionist tells you they saw a dinosaur die in 1883, you need to pay attention.
Yeah, I would. So it's not billions and billions of years ago, and the Earth is 6,000 years old, and
people were the last thing created on day
dinosaurs,
6, but terrestrial dinosaurs were created on day 6, aquatic on day 5.
That's right. Wow, it's amazing.
We have tons of physical evidence to prove this. And again, art and artifacts. You know, we have pictographs in southwest U.S. of Indians seeing them and carving them. We have clay figures actually made, over 30,000 of them, in Mexico, pre-Columbian. We have evidence from a stegosaurus cut only 900 years ago in a temple in Angkor Wat, Cambodia.
So what are the evolutionists saying about all these facts and all these findings?
They hide them.
I don't know them, so that sounds about right.
It's what we refer to as censured science. They only show you what makes them look good. They never show you what makes them look bad.
How do they hide them, though?
Remember I said I had 3 solutions?
Yes.
Teach them scientifically side by side. No religion, no origins. Or don't teach either one. But what was my 3rd solution? Teach more about evolution than they do, and nobody believe it. Teach the stuff they leave out, and nobody would believe it's true.
Right. Wow.
It's really interesting.
I know. We really loved talking to Dr. Grady. It was wonderful, and he gave us the evidence and a defense of why we should believe in the Bible. So everyone out there who's watching, whether you're a believer or not, take a look at the real science. Take a look and do the research before you believe what they're teaching you at school, before you have doubt. The Bible has the answers, and science is backing it up every single day. We thank you so much, Dr. Grady, for joining us here, teaching us so much, and we want you back because we have more questions.
Yes,
we haven't even reached Jesus yet, and even on the flesh of dinosaurs that was found. So we hope that you will come back and join us.
Thank you very much. I'd love to.
Thank you.
Great.
Thank you.
Okay, bye. I'll see you next time.